Hi, good evening. Welcome to Starr 103.5 FM. My name is Nana Aba Anamoah. Simply the best. That's the radio station you should be listening to right now. It's a Star Chart, the award-winning personality profile show. And I'm sure throughout the day, since yesterday, you've been seeing our guest for tonight. But yes, you probably think you know her. I'll probably tell you something you don't know about her. And we'll be finding out all about her tonight on the show. Star Chat is live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takoradi, DSTV channel 885 and Go TV channel 197, and around the world live at starfm.com.gh. We're also streaming live on the Facebook pages of GH1 TV and Star 103.5 FM. So find us and join the conversation. Before I get into the conversation with my guest tonight, Dove believes that deodorants shouldn't just protect, they should care for your underarms too. After all, a lot of the things in life lead us throwing our arms in the air, which is why Dove deodorant is created with our quarter moisturizing cream to care for your underarm skin, leaving it soft and smooth. So go ahead, lift your arms in confidence, lift them like you just don't care, because you know that Dove deodorant cares for your underarm like never before. Dove truly cares. Also, if you've been listening to the show, we've been telling you about the Brush With Me campaign, and Pepsodent has something amazing going. They believe that setting up a routine of brushing properly with a fluoride toothpaste day and night works wonders in boosting your oral health. For this great routine to stick, brushing every day with your family does the trick. That is why your favorite oral care brand, Pepsodent, has launched the Brush With Me campaign to remind parents of their joyful responsibility in taking care of the oral health of their families by brushing together, and that's better. Take action today, because good oral hygiene starts with you. Visit the dentist regularly, brush properly day and night, and invite your family to brush with you. That's right, brushing is better together, and twice a day is the way to go. So invite your family to brush with you. Okay, so let's get into the conversation. I have other goodies on the show. I'll tell you more about them as the conversation progresses into the night. But just to clear my throat before I introduce this woman. So my guest tonight is a woman of steel and filled with guts. Rosalind Carter was the one who said you have to have confidence in your ability and then be tough enough to follow through. My guest started out life with the aim of becoming the people's representative in court to defend the rights of women and earn a living in litigation. A decade later, she walked into the world of telecommunications and later became MD of Western Telesystems, Westel, in 2005. 7 years on, and the zeal to keep serving people made her throw her hat in the political ring to contest as the MP for Ablekuma West. She was successful and has kept that responsibility since 2013. Despite her stellar career, she's also been the subject of controversy in the political arena. Known for her sometimes cheeky talk, she's been found guilty of a few times of dissing political opponents. I dare say she's quite the verbal kickboxer. Her taste of punches and physical attacks has also not gone unnoticed. Odododio stands out like a sore thumb, and she's been always quick to point to it any time the topic of electoral violence comes up. But what does it say about her? And what does she make of the 8 who died in the 2020 elections? When do we draw the line and say enough is enough to stop this disgraceful feature of our body politic? In her time as communications minister, she has come up for scrutiny, closing down radio stations, setting up telecoms monitoring system, the KELVI GVG, which many question its value and benefit to Ghanaians. The COVID tracker app and its cost effectiveness, plus her major head-on coalition with telecom giant MTN. Some private sector people who've worked closely with her describe her as a doer who has brought a lot of sanity into the communication sector. So, is she eyeing a bigger role in politics? And I'm referring to the top seat of president, perhaps. As her biggest admirer, I pray she is. Why has the Affirmative Action Bill not been passed, which is the crowning of all her work in women advocacy and defending their rights? The daughter of Achimodun, who can hit you with a smile 1 minute and a sucker punch in the next, almost like the mold of Margaret Thatcher. Ursula Owusu-Ekuful is my guest on the award-winning Star Chart. Remember, it is live on Ultimate FM in Kumasi, Empire FM in Takoradi, and live on all our social media handles. You're welcome to the show.
Are you sure I was the one you were referring to?
Did I miss anything?
I almost didn't recognize myself there.
I don't think I missed it. I think I missed a few things, and you will supply them tonight.
We'll see.
How have you been?
I've been well.
Yeah, you look
Busy?
stressed.
Tired. It's been a long day for me. I think I haven't had any rest this whole year.
Yeah?
Since we set out. But
Did you have any last year?
I wonder.
Exactly, because you were campaigning.
I was actually.
Yeah.
And people say I thrive on stress. So
Do you? Do you
I don't
think
know.
you do?
But I do take time off
You do?
and put my feet. I haven't done so for a while. That's why it's beginning to show, I think. But
When you
well.
take time off, what do you do?
I sleep.
Oh, sleep.
Mix cocktails and sleep. Mix cocktails for others to drink, as they say.
And then you
I
sleep.
enjoy the effect on them. And I love reading. I haven't done that too often lately. I have a pile of books that I intend to read. I must make time for that. And I have long, lazy days when I just unwind. And I think everybody needs that
Yeah.
once in a while.
But
So
it's been a while since you
it
do
has
that.
been.
Yeah. You
So
probably should get
I
some of that
am-
soon.
I'm going to get away someday soon.
You should. You
Yeah.
definitely should. I hear you're a big fan of Daddy Lumba.
I love him, absolutely.
Yeah. That's why I've been
I
playing
know,
since 6:30.
that explains it.
Just
I
to
was
calm you
wondering-
down.
It always does the trick. I love Lumba.
What's your favorite song from Lumba?
They'll say I'm quarrelsome. But Maseda. Masedi. Not
Masedi.
Masedi. It's Masedi, but they usually write Maseda. But it's a lovely piece. And I love Pim Pim and so and a few others. I love the which one? I love all his songs actually, and I think they are like poetry in motion. Another artist that I also love is Kujentri. Sometimes I don't know which one
Yeah.
I love the most.
The
but
media has tried to set the two of them, together. Let's say, which one do you prefer, Lumba or Daddy? Lumba or Kojo?
do you have to choose between the two of them? You love both of them depending on the mood you're in.
Yeah.
And they both do love songs very well. It's a toss as to which one does it better, but they appeal to different strands in everybody's makeup.
Can you
so
sing any
it
of his
works.
songs?
I used to be a chorister back in the day. but
Really?
I think, yes. I was one of the earliest child choristers. I sang in the church choir in Dansoman Emmanuel Presby Church.
Wow.
One of the founding members of the choir, and I used to sing soprano, but I think
What
I've moved
happened?
on. I know the
You
voice
moved
grew croaky and all of that.
It
But now
resulted
and
to
again,
talking.
maybe because I was a very quiet child too.
Were you?
Absolutely.
Who would believe
You
that?
know.
And what happened along the way?
I have no idea. Circumstances. The talkative and loud one in the family was my younger sister.
Right.
And everybody associated me with being a bookworm, my head stuck in a book, quietly sitting in my corner, minding my own business. So if anybody had told me when I was in secondary school, university, early days, that I'd end up being a politician, I'd have disputed that, because I don't like, I like sitting in my small corner, minding my own
Who do you
business.
look at that? But you don't know at what point this changed.
I was, getting into law.
Okay.
I've always been an advocate for the underdog. So I pick courses, and when nobody is interested in it, I'm like, I stick my teeth in it like a bulldog and just, So getting into the legal profession, and I believe my introduction into women's rights may have fueled the streak of advocacy in me. And from the early days, and I thank my mentors, much earlier on, male mentors, the former Chief Justice, late Ian P. Sowa. He used to have deep conversations with me when I was just a first year law student.
Did you understand them?
A lot of it was over my head, but he challenged you to think,
right.
and to argue your position. Then my late uncle, T.B. Sam, who encouraged me to read and to also think deeply. And they used to have adult conversations with me as if I was their co-equal. And so if my mouth is a bit like that, they are responsible for it.
It's the early exposure.
Early exposure of deep thinkers, readers, and who philosophers. And they were... Uncle Benji was also into religion, all kinds of it, from meditation through to Christianity and all that, music and all that. So I just loved hanging out with him. And they also taught me to think. And then much later on, my first and only boss ever, I think, Nana Aba, who also encouraged me to speak up and to articulate my thoughts and to pay attention to detail in my thinking, in my writing, and all of that. So they all helped shape me.
Right.
And then the female mentors that I also got exposed to. Mrs. Kwenye here is an excellent example of it, who took me under her wing as a law student and exposed me to the world of women's rights. Her lordship, Henrietta Mensah Bonsu, the two of them shared an office. And in first year, they would identify promising, let me say, women in the class and have chats with them, and not all of us followed up on it. And I think in my class, I'm the only one who actually ended up in this area that they provided for us. And I'm just thinking as I'm speaking, and ended up taking up women's rights as a vocation, no. Hobby, no. Passion, yes. And they introduced me to FIDA, the International Federation of Women Lawyers as well. So I was called to the bar in 1990. Ekufadu Prempe & Co. was where I was doing my national service and pupillage. And it was just a stone's throw from the FIDA offices on Kojo Thompson Road. Nice. So I shared my time between the two. So between Nana Ekufadu and the FIDA ladies, Dorcas Kokapia, Ekuya Kwenye here, Emilia Japon, Auntie Mariana Dukufo of blessed memory.
Are you still memory. In touch with all of these women? Except
not as Auntie Marian's gone. Auntie Lucy is around, but not as often as I would have loved. To come to think of it, I really should make time to hang out with them a bit more. They were phenomenal. Ernestina Hagen as well. And I remember one conference we went to in 93 in Vienna, and we stayed in this lovely, lovely, lovely hotel, Schönbrunn. So we still call ourselves Schönbrunn. Lovely guest house. It was the Empress guest house, they claim, but had been converted to a hotel. I like antiques and old furniture, and so this was just what my heart wanted. We had fun in Vienna, and this was in 93, I believe. I think one of my earliest exposures to the international women's rights world. And so hanging out with these women, sharing their passion for giving something back to society, using the training that we've received to empower other women and make life a little easier for them, left an indelible mark on my formative years. And you learn from their personal experiences as well. And I tell this story. I don't know if I've told you before, but I think it was Mrs. Kwenye here then. And young female lawyers dealing with cases of divorce and separation and violence against women, and we're all, passionate, giddy, and all that. So one day she just called all of us and said, chill. We should never lose sight of the fact that at the end of the day, we're wives and mothers.
Right.
If we're not wives as yet, we will become wives and mothers. So it's good to be all human rights activists and hard and all that. but you should leave your activism at the door of your home before you enter, because there you're a wife and a mother. That was deep. I don't think it made much of an impression on me now. But after I got married and had children, then I began to understand what she meant by
What did
that.
it mean?
You need to compartmentalize your life. Okay. You can't be driving in fifth gear all the time, always, aggressive and out there trying to change the world. No. You need to step back and think that there are different roles that you play in life, and you should play all of them equally well. So you need to have some balance in your life. You can't take your women's rights and activism into your home when you need to be chill, be a woman, your man's woman. He didn't marry a profession. He married a woman he wants to hang out with. So you need to be able to balance that and meet those needs as well. It also helps you in your own life, because without that, you tip onto being the unnatural person.
But do you think feminists of today understand this?
I don't think so. I think somehow we're losing the balance. Nothing wrong with advocating for women's rights, and I've been a lifelong advocate of women's rights, and I'll probably do that till the end of my life. But there's a limit to what activism can achieve. Right. And it is the end result that you're looking for. And so we have different tools that you apply depending on the situation. And you need to be able to recognize when to pull on the gloves and when to sheath the claws. If you don't get that, you will always be out destroying things instead of building. Sometimes we need to punch, and sometimes we need to stroke and caress. And you need to be able to recognize which tool or which style would achieve most results. And I thank Mrs. Kwenye here for teaching me that very early in my career. And so it helped me to be a bit more balanced than I am. So the Ursula you see out there is not the Ursula. Well, I'm sure you should ask my kids. They'll say maybe I'm hard, eh?
You're hard on them.
Yes, I am. I was just having a chat with two of my nieces a few days ago, telling them that they were spoiled brats. And they said, we are spoiled brats? Really? You should see our contemporaries, our peers. We are very, very, very clued in, and we have our heads screwed on right, straight. And who are we going to put our heads back and, just act like spoiled brats to you when they just pointed at me?
You must have had that laugh.
I did.
Yeah.
I said, we've spoiled them. And they said, no, they're not spoiled at all. I should see their friends. Now they are spoiled. And I said, you were calling others spoiled. But parenting is a challenge. And if they turn out well, you thank God. Because it could go any way.
How many kids do you have?
I have one biological kid, right, and several others. At a point in time, I could have about 10 children in my house. And even now, the friends of the children that I've raised, and I've lived with my nieces all my life, their friends follow them home and stay. So you would never know who is my child, right, and who is their friend. They all call me Mommy Ursula, so that's it.
So you just love children around you?
I love kids. I have only one rule in my house. There's food. You can make all the noise you like. Keep it away from my door. Don't knock on my door until it's a matter of life and death.
Right.
And so I think I'm fairly liberal. I give them free rein, but within limits.
Right.
One thing they know is I can't stand dishonesty and lies.
Okay.
So no matter how bad it is, tell me the truth, and then we can work our way through it. But if you lie to me and I find out,
trouble.
You're dead.
Big trouble. Big trouble. So what you're saying essentially is that yes, you advocate for women, but you're a completely different person at home. I mean, you apply tact
Absolutely.
At home. Okay, and I think it's a lesson a lot of young women who are into the advocacy game must understand, because it's come up a number of times, and you hear men complain that their wives, they're out there on social media very loud, and we get it that they're loud, but they complain that it's also at home.
Take it home. No.
Yeah. So what if you're a feminist and you're out there and you see sometimes the abuse that women are receiving, and you get home and you're in a similar relationship, what do you do?
I don't think anyone should ever tolerate abuse of any kind. It's disrespectful of you. And if you allow yourself to stay in an abusive relationship, you are hating your own self. You should have mutual respect, and respect should be the foundation of every relationship and friendship. And your friend will not abuse you, no matter what their utterances are. Check their actions. That's where you really know what they really think about you. And so, yes, advocate for abused women out there, and insist on the same level of treatment being meted out to you in your own home. And that should be respect. And learn to know when to walk away.
Why do you think, and it's come up so many times to the point where women are being killed by their partners, and it's come up a number of times this year. Why is it difficult for some women in abusive relationships to get up and walk away?
It's not easy to, one, even understand the nature of the relationship you are in. Sometimes you are so dependent on the man that you think you cannot live without him, no matter how bad it is. But while there's life, there's hope. You can always stand on your feet again and start all over again while there's life. And there's this cycle of violence as well. He hits you, he hurts you, he feels remorseful, he apologizes, he showers you with gifts. You forgive him, he's nice to you, and then the cycle starts again. So somehow, unconsciously, sometimes the man can't show affection. You haven't ever experienced affection from him, apart from when he's in this remorseful mood and trying to make up to you for the hurt that he's inflicted on you. So you associate, it's warped, it's wrong, but in your mind, and our mind does play, our psychologist does play games on us. You associate the affection he's showing with the hurt that he's inflicting on you. That's why they say he's beating me because he loves me. But it's unnatural, it's warped. You need to recognize what is happening. And they'll say, I'm hitting you because I love you. How can you hit me because you love me? I mean, there must be something wrong with you. So at some stage, you must realize that he's never going to stop until you make him. And by walking away, you probably help him by realizing that he needs to deal with his anger in a more constructive way than to destroy the people and the things around him. And a lot of that is going on in our society. We lash out at those closest to us when we are under stress. And those closest to you are the members of your family. And you think you can be yourself with them. So put on a brave face for the world and face all the situations out there. And when you come home and you're unwinding and they say one thing that you consider wrong, then pam. That's not right.
How did you feel when you saw these stories of the women being killed by their partners?
Horrendous. And I am all for the law taking its course and letting people realize that there is absolutely no justification for and no justifiable excuse of violence against women. Nothing can justify it. She's too lippy, so that's the way the Lord made her. You're not the one who's going to discipline her and change her. You can advise, and you knew what you were letting yourself in for. If you come and marry me and you say, I'm too yappy, please go. I like myself the way I am. It is not your punches that is going to change me. But there's something good in everyone, and we need to recognize that. What attracted you to that person is still there. And nobody is perfect, so there may be certain things in that person's character that you don't like. But if the person is not willing to change, you can't make her. So either you live with it or you walk. the choice is yours. But don't butter and bruise her thinking that you're going to reform or transform her. It is only God who can change us. Our hardened hearts. And we all pray for the grace to be able to change or improve upon ourselves. And it takes a lot of grace. Right. And we're all a work in progress. So as for violence against women, I make no excuses for it. There have been a few cases in my constituency when people have said, oh, I work for you and all that. And I said, so you did what? You went to hit your wife. Carry him away, please. I don't want to know. And those incidents have occurred, but I will not tolerate that around me. I don't think that any man worth his salt should lift his hand up against a woman. There is no situation, no conflict that cannot be resolved through dialogue. And when one party is upset, you also getting upset doesn't help matters. So let the one be hot and one be cold. And then there was wisdom in what our parents used to do, and we think that we know it all, so we don't. I hang out a lot with people who are 10, 20 years older than me, and I learn a lot from them. My sister says that almost all my friends are old people, and I said I like it like that. I know the value that I get from my association with them. But they would wake you up at dawn when tempers had sufficiently cooled. No matter how upset you were when you went to sleep, you would have slept on it. And at dawn, when they wake you up to discuss the issue, the thinking is that by then, you would have calmed down and you could have a dispassionate conversation about the issues. And we shouldn't personalize it. You do not hate the person. You hate what that person did to you. If we keep our focus on the actions that we find objectionable instead of the people who committed those actions, it's easy for us to find some amicable resolution to it.
Right. I mean, we were talking about Daddy Lumba earlier. You told us why you like Daddy Lumba and then Kojo Entry. Do you see any difference between what they were doing then and what we are getting now?
The music.
From our new crop of musicians.
I do like a few. Unfortunately, I don't know who the artists are, but I find myself. I know. I love Bisake Day, I think. Okay. Kwame Eugene too. I love some of his music, and this Takrady guy who Kenata. I love him as well. So, yeah, some of it still resonates with us. A lot of it is noise, though. I must confess. Seriously.
Which one is noise?
Well, I don't know, but I'll tune off. I love music. I really do like music. All genres. I don't discriminate.
You like reggae?
I love reggae. I love Bob Marley. Yeah. And tell the children the truth. Tell the children the truth.
You do have a beautiful voice.
I know I do. Tell the children the truth right now. Anyway, I love Bob Marley.
Yeah.
You play that for me later.
Yes, we'll play it for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Redemption song too, I love. Yeah.
Okay.
So I love music, but the lyrics must resonate with me. It must make sense. So the chin chin cha, which.
But you do dance to it, don't you? You shake a tail feather.
I do. Well, if the rhythm is okay, I will.
So which one would you rather, the lyrics or the rhythm?
Both.
Both. Okay.
I don't know. It doesn't have to be either or.
It must make sense.
It must make sense. I also love mood music.
Okay.
So the slow jams, I like them as well, depending on my mood.
Oh yeah.
So my favorite absolute, what I consider bliss, on a hot afternoon with a good book, long cold drink, fine music in the background, just chilling. Now that's bliss.
Yeah.
You can visualize that.
I can. I actually just did. I just did that. All right. So I'm going to move away from that. I'll get into the communication sector very soon because I do have some questions that I want to ask you about it. But I also want to pick your thoughts. I want to pick your thoughts on polygamy and then LGBTQ+. So first,
what is the plus thing do there?
Oh, it's because it's a tall order, and so the plus is to tell us that there's more.
Hey.
Yeah. So first, polygamy.
Let me be controversial here. Why should it be only men who can have multiple partners? So why are we talking about polygamy and not polyandry? What's good for the goose should be good for the gander.
Actually, best for the gander too.
If you think it is okay for men to have multiple sexual partners, why is it wrong for women to have multiple sexual partners? Let's just think about that. So
Well, they'll give you so
wrong,
many reasons.
Why?
For instance, society doesn't allow that. Society frowns on a woman having multiple partners. And
constitutes society?
They may even pull up a few quotations from the Bible too. Yeah.
Self-serving, I'm sure. But I think that it is important that we respect each other in relationships. So if it is not working out and you cannot have that respect, leave. I am on my second marriage. First one, I stayed for 10 years. It wasn't working out. Fine man, it's nothing wrong with him, but he wasn't meant for me. And I wasn't happy in that relationship. And I didn't think it was right to stay in there and make both of us miserable. So I left. We're still friends. And we have a beautiful son.
You think it's okay to
together.
be friends with your ex?
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
If it is, are you enemies? You were lovers once before. The foundation of that relationship was love and friendship. So why do you have to, unless something really awful happened?
Sometimes there's a temptation.
Is there?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it. I was tempted to say something. But I won't say it. I'll tell you off air.
Yeah, because there are some who think that when you're still friends with your ex, it's so easy to cheat on your partner with your ex.
Then why did you leave him?
If
you are tempted
some
to
attraction, some
cheat on your current partner with your ex, go back to your ex. We should stop lying to ourselves. And relationships are difficult enough as it is. But if you like the person enough to still feel some physical attraction to him, then maybe you shouldn't have left in the first place. Or whatever made you leave upon reconsideration was not a good enough reason. But maybe both of you have moved on, and so you need to respect the fact that you made a choice.
Maybe a last goodbye.
No, please.
Okay.
I
wasn't expecting that one.
Be happy in your own grave if you are dead.
Right.
Don't keep popping your head out. It's disrespectful to your current partners if you're doing that with your ex. But I don't see anything wrong with being friends with your ex. And there are limits, though. Sometimes they might be tempted to cross the line, but you have to be firm and say, sorry, it's over. So let's build a different kind of relationship. And it's possible to do that.
So you think that if men are being allowed, if men think they can have a first, second, third wife, then women should be allowed?
I don't think it's right.
It is right.
I don't think it is right.
Okay.
I think that relationships are hard work, and you will not get it 100% right, but you need to work at it. And if you do, you can have a good relationship. But both of you need to work at it. If you're committed to making it work, ultimately, you would find accommodation and be okay with each other. If you can't, don't stay.
So you won't accept to be a first wife and allow a second to come in?
Hey. Bro. He go hard give am.
What would you possibly do?
Yeah, just be me.
Yeah. Well, who wants to deal with Ursula? Yeah, but you never allow that.
But I don't think that, judging by the relationship I have with my husband, that situation would ever occur.
Would you describe yourself as a romantic?
Oh, I'm sure he could do with a bit more of that. But I have my moments.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you get too busy for him?
Sometimes. But it is important to make time for the family and to halt and realize that it's time for us to. And I used to do that when the kids were growing up.
Right.
And have time with the family. So leave the work. I've always been busy from Western days and beyond. But in all the craziness, one weekend, grab all of them in the car, let's go off somewhere. We've explored vast parts of this country and had fun at it. And don't carry work with you when you are off with the family.
I'm guilty.
Just engage. They grow up too quickly, the children. Before you can blink. Like right now, everybody is leading their own lives.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I should say this. We're on air. There are a few things I shouldn't be saying. I used to tell them that, please, Lord, I hope I don't rue this day.
Yeah.
I used to tell them that they should hurry up and leave the house so that I can walk around naked.
You miss that?
I do.
Yeah.
Now, one of them called me and said, okay, we've gone. Are you walking around naked?
Yes.
I said, oh, found quite some songs. But I miss them when they're away, and we don't spend enough time with them growing up. So sometimes we miss their formative years.
I'm sure your mom feels the same way.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And they will also feel the same way with their children. But we need to create memories, family memories, do stuff together. We used to go on picnics and hikes, and we've done the Shy Hills, which is close to Accra, but many people don't know it. The forest reserve, rock climbing, bat caves and all that. Ebri, the Kwewu, Boabing Fiema, somewhere in the Bronhafu region. We've done Bobri Butterfly Sanctuary, which is close to Kumasi. And then Bunsu, the Arboretum. Very nice place. We've done.
You're a proper domestic tourist.
I do. I love Ghana. We have amazing sites here. And so we just explore. And we used to do that almost every long vac, go off somewhere. I was just in Volta Hotel, Akosombo, over the weekend. And it just brought back memories of the fun times we'd had there as a family. We used to spend all our Easter holidays there. And so, Dodi, Princess, there's that. I mean, hiking around that place. And let them see what a beautiful country we have, the Volta region. I had friends in the Leklebi area. Paul Asimenu, I used to go to his house for vacations there. And the children, I have a friend who has a waterfall in his garden. Can you imagine? He has this wraparound balcony around his house. Very nice place. So we'd go there, and early in the morning, the children would hike up the mountain, wake up an appetite, and come back and eat. You know, it was fun. Mango farms there, walking across the border on the bridge between Ghana and Togo there. And Uncle Willie in Kansa used to go, his lovely wife too, with us, go across the bridge, just a bridge separating Ghana and Togo, walk across and go have a beer. And Uncle Willie would have a smoke on the other side, just watch the people washing clothes in the river, and it was fun, but it's restful. Now, if you don't make time for events like that, you miss out on all of that and spending time with the family. So it's important to have balance in our lives as well. Make time for the kids. I did a piece a few years ago about life in a pressure cooker. I don't know if many people know what a pressure cooker is these days, but it was a cooking implement which used to tenderize meat quickly, but the pressure builds up in it and you have to open it slowly or it will explode in your face, boom. But like life too, if you don't release the tension and the stress a little bit, it explodes in your face. And so we need to make time to balance all the competing demands on our time.
Right. I mean, I'd like to get to know you better. I mean, when people listen to you on radio, you're either talking about one policy or the other. And I'm sure a lot of people are dying to hear your thoughts on so many things, including Airtel Tigo. But I want to get to know you better.
That's great.
Where are your parents? Are they both alive?
My father passed away.
Oh, bless him.
Quite a few years ago, actually. Early 2000s, I think. My mother's still alive. She is 79 this year.
Very young.
Yep, she just turned 79. People say I look a bit like her.
Do you think you look?
I think I'm nicer than she is. Others think.
I think we will all disagree at some point.
She will disagree vehemently
Yeah.
with me.
Is she anything like you? I mean, in terms of character, personality.
A bit. I come from a family of strong women.
Okay.
My mother, his sisters, all very strong-willed women. But I think I take after her older sister more. She's dead now. Mrs. Sam. It's her husband I was talking about, my uncle Benji. I lived with them for a while.
So your mom is a Sam?
No.
Okay.
She was Mrs.
She's
Sam.
Mrs. Sam. Okay.
My
cool.
mom is a Diowu.
Ediewu.
Brago Diowu.
Right. From
That's the name.
Achimodan as well?
Yes.
Okay.
But her father is from Kwewedriamwa.
Okay.
Her mother is from Odan. We have family everywhere. So I say I'm the quintessential Ghanaian. I have blood in every part
And you have how many
of
siblings?
this country. Direct siblings, 2. But my brother died. There was one boy. They're twins. So those who come after me, a boy and a girl, they're dead. But half siblings, several. And last count, we were about 25.
Oh.
A few have died since. But we're all close. Quite a close-knit family, the Owusus. There are a few we didn't know till after my father died.
They always pop up.
You know? Our men are very active in the shadows.
That's when you know the real kids. Yeah, that's true. And you grew up in Achimodan or Accra? Accra, in Dansoman.
Well, we started off in Kanishi Awudomi Estates.
So you've always been in that area?
That area, yes.
Right. Yeah.
And then we moved to Dansoman in 72.
Oh.
And have been there since.
Right.
Yeah. So
Right.
I'm a DC chick.
And which secondary school did you go to?
I went to Infansiman and Laboni.
Manside.
Yes, Manside.
Okay. Do you remember the Manside anthem?
Oh, you want me to sing it?
Yes.
Borbo Infansiman Girls Secondary School. Fwe. Yeah, you see, we are local girls. And we're down to earth. One young puta, yes, yeah, look at me. Branya den or branya warabo mo or brapa jora kwan or branya warabo. That's our motto, or branya warabo.
Right.
Or branya warabo.
Were you active in school?
I told you I was a
You were
very
a quiet
quiet
person until much
bookworm.
later. Yeah.
But I had my own crowd and my own way.
Were you eating cassava then? Because I hear in
Why were
Fansiman.
you eating cassava
Yeah,
then?
because
I don't
hear
remember us
cassava
eating any
is
cassava.
a
then.
toast of Manside.
Maybe the later generation. I remember our red and high teas on Sunday, and I don't know if they still do it. Our food was great.
Yeah. Are you still in
know.
touch with some of your mates?
Oh yes.
From back then.
Oh yes. A fair number. Barbara Otinjesi was my classmate.
Oh, right.
Yes. In Infansiman, quite a few of them. We have a very active platform. I'm not so active on it now, but Angela Jamra Buaji.
Oh, she was your mate.
She was my mate from primary school, Harrow. Yes.
Oh, so you've known each other for
Angie
a long
and I go
time.
way back. She was Angela Diasechi then. Yes, so a few of us, and we all ended up doing law anyway. But I missed a year, so they became a year ahead of me. But it all worked out.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
I have interesting memories of my days in Scotton House.
Yeah?
Yep.
Were you a very bad senior, as in punishing people a lot?
No.
Yeah.
I don't ever remember punishing anyone.
Yeah?
They should remind me. I don't recall ever doing that.
No boho episodes.
Oh, well. If I punished any of my juniors, they should remind me.
Do you regret?
I
If
have
you did,
absolutely no
do you have any regrets?
Not really. It's part of the training and experience that you get and the memories that you make.
Yeah.
I remember being punished.
Yeah.
I remember that when I was, I think the first week in school, I went looking for a friend of mine in Chinry House and walked into a room full of some seniors. Hey,
And they
homo, come
dealt
here.
with you.
Bah! Said, today be today.
Right.
I left there in tears.
Did you have a boyfriend at this school?
Pulled. Nope. I had brother in St. Augustine's.
A brother.
I have brother. Martin. They kept very close eye
Yeah.
on me. But in infancy, man, you know, in our time, there was no exeat, no midterm.
Oh.
So we didn't get to hang out with the Cape Coast guys. A few of them would come and visit on visiting days on Saturday, but that's about it. So the only chance we got to get out of the school during term time was either you were a member of a club going on excursion, and you know the club I joined. Everybody was joining the cultural club for all kinds of things. I went to the Greek club.
What?
But you know the number of times we got to get out of school just because we were to see the Mankwazi farms and this and that, Pomadzi farms, Mankwazi fisheries and all that. So we had our motives.
So
for
you were strategic in choosing the club. I really like that. I mean, I said I was going to talk to you about the LGBTQ plus as well. Your thoughts on it?
I think that, and I'll say it, I'm not interested in what anybody does in the privacy of their own homes. So you can be whichever alphabet you choose. Keep it out of my face. And if we keep our sexuality private, we don't have any problems. But if you force us to accept who you are in public when we are violently against it by our training and orientation and religion and culture, I think that's pushing it. So I've been in several fora where this has come up for discussion. And I said, as a human rights advocate, I would protect their right to education, to work, their right to not to be discriminated against in terms of access to social services. And we met a group of them who said that even getting medical care was a challenge because of who they are. If you have issues in your nether region and you go to a doctor and the nurse is asking you, how the hell did you get these sores here? And it becomes a whole wahala. But keep it private. I'm not the one who, like I said, it's only God who changes people. So I can't force you to change to become like me. But in the same way, don't force me to accept something that I don't like. If I don't like fetri dechi and I love fetri dechi, I'm just using it as an example, you can't force me to eat it. So keep your sexuality private and you won't have any problems. In Ghana, we are not overtly affectionate. You don't see too many, I don't know about now, but me growing up, wouldn't see people kissing in the streets.
No, it hasn't changed.
It hasn't changed.
No.
Thank God. I thought you young people were a different breed.
It hasn't changed.
But we're not like that. So if men holding hands, maybe we hug a lot, so men hugging men is nothing out of the ordinary. But kissing and touching each other in sexually suggestive ways publicly, everybody would find offensive. And I was not raised that way. You shouldn't expect me to like that. So that's where I draw the line. How would I feel if my son came to tell me that that was his inclination? I pray it never happened.
You just did the sign of the cross.
Yes, I did. Because I want grandchildren. And I don't know
They
how
can
else.
adopt.
Okay, true.
They adopt all the time.
True, but I would like grandchildren.
Yeah.
I don't have anything wrong
You
with-
want a biological
yeah,
grandchild.
some blood in them there somewhere.
Right.
You know, at some point I was toying seriously with setting up an adoption agency.
Yeah.
Yes, it's and I don't think I've lost. Maybe when I retire. Right now I'm too busy to get into that.
Because you were so involved with other children.
Yes, I think it's important that we marry homeless children with childless homes, and that would make a perfect marriage. And the young girls who are abandoning their babies and all of that, I don't think it is necessary. And so we should create an avenue for them if they really genuinely don't want to have those children, to give those children up to those who desperately need children to create a home for them. So that's also one of the things that are filed away as something that I would like to do at some stage in my life. There's nothing wrong with adoption, and I think we do a lot of that. I mean, I've raised and continue to raise countless children who, but for my intervention, maybe would have ended up having a very different kind of life.
Do you remember remember your first boyfriend?
Absolutely.
Oh, you do?
Of course I do.
Where is he?
I have no idea.
He must be very proud of you.
I hope so. But for a very long time, we're still friends. I haven't seen him for a long time. I think he fell onto a bad patch and got into a bit of alcohol abuse or something.
Right.
But I used to see him regularly, and we stayed friends for a very long time. So he pissed me off, and I said he should.
You give him the cake.
I was going to say something.
All right.
But I do remember him.
Do remember.
And I still have fond memories of the...
How old were you?
Please, I beg you. My mother may be listening.
You were too young then. You were too young then.
I shall not disclose it.
I just got a message from a listener who says, please, can you ask Ursula to explain what experimenting with supi really is?
I have no intention of doing that. It's for me to know and you to wonder.
Okay, now we're going to get into the issues of communications. But before we go, let me remind you that Coop's original buffruit, Puff Puff, is finally here in Ghana thanks to Wealth Bridge Limited. It is your perfect buffruit mix made from carefully selected ingredients in the right amounts that provide the requisite nourishment to consumers and gives optimum satisfaction. It's already selling hot in the UK as a consumable product. Coop's buffruit, Puff Puff, is halal compliant, healthy, nutritious, and affordable. Its ingredients have been carefully selected, certified, and approved by the food authorities in both the UK and Ghana. It is one good bite deserves another. So get yours. For further information, call 05563 00040 or 0201 590213. Also, CompuGhana says don't miss the hottest sale of the month. Yes, one day only. Get the best deals on all LG products up to 40% discount only at CompuGhana. You can't get this anywhere. Rush to any CompuGhana branch nationwide this Friday and buy your LG appliances at great discounts. That's not all. Fill a coupon when you buy and get a chance to win amazing prizes like a 43-inch TV and an air condition for free in a live draw. Visit the showrooms or shop online at CompuGhana.com. CompuGhana, passion for technology. Finally, not finally, but still wondering what to get your mother this Mother's Day. It's not just your mother, but your wife, sister, or boss this Mother's Day. Relax. GH Perfumes Mall has got the perfect gift set for you. It's the Marine Luxury Perfumes. Fragrances from the sweet, delicious smell of roses, vanilla, to the spicy scent of sweet oud, patchouli, and leather that stays on you for days. A selection of high-quality, luxurious scents to help you celebrate your first lady and make your mother or loved one feel unique. So call them for nationwide delivery, available within 24 hours, 0278 156 111 or 0559 740 739. I'm having a conversation with the Member of Parliament for Ablikuma West and Minister for Communications, Mrs. Ursula Owusu-Ekuful. Now, how much did we really pay for Airtel Tigo? I'm sure you've answered this question. You're probably tired of answering the question. That's you.
One greenback.
$1
US.
Why?
One. Ekome baku.
$1. That's $1. Why? How?
Well, we didn't want to acquire Airtel Tigo in the first place.
Was it that bad?
It's not bad at all. They have assets worth close to $1 billion. And so it's not a bad deal at all. The vendors were confident that government of Ghana could handle their investment that they were leaving behind well. And it wasn't as if they wanted to sell, but they were compelled by circumstances to leave.
What circumstances?
COVID.
Okay.
Help was making them consolidate their investments around the world. And Tigo had decided that they were leaving Africa. And you check the Tigo operations around the continent. They're out of every country here. I've either sold where they could sell, and sometimes they literally gave it away and said they were leaving. So they had informed their joint venture partner here that they're leaving, so they could take the whole business lock, stock, and barrel and do whatever they liked with it. Airtel didn't think it wanted to manage this alone, particularly in this COVID era when capital investment in things like telecoms was hard to come by. And so they sought to find out if government would be interested in partnering them to run the company. Government didn't think that if the experiment with Tigo didn't work out, changing their partner would make any difference, and informed them that, nope, we're not interested in partnering you. And they said, well, then we're going, because we don't intend to run it by ourselves. Now, at that stage, they're going means what? Declaring bankruptcy, pulling up stakes and leaving. What about the jobs, careers, the whole industry, network of agents, suppliers, service providers who are also doing business in that space? The landlords whose properties they've rented, and the agents who are working for them and earning a livelihood in the COVID era. We didn't want to introduce even more uncertainty in the market than the pandemic already had. So government said, okay, if you're going, then we'll step in. However, we have no intention of buying this. And they said, we're willing to offer it to you for $1 on condition that you keep it as a going concern, to keep the business going. We said, absolutely, we're prepared to do that. And so that's how come it was offered.
So it's not $1 per share?
Nope.
It's
$1 for the 99% of the shares in the company that Airtel Tigo had.
Wow.
Great deal. I'm excited at the possibilities of what we can do with this company. And they have 5 million subscribers. I hope we can grow it. We've changed a few things in the industry, not because of this sale. This was just recent. But we had been ramping up to do that since the beginning of last year.
Oh, right. So it's been going on for a while. It went on for a while.
The discussions, yes, from about the middle of last year.
But they have debts in their books.
A fair bit. It's a going concern. They have debts. They have creditors too who owe them. Yeah, they have debtors and they have creditors.
And is the debt that bad?
The shareholders had a significant amount of debt, but they've taken all of that with them. We've told them that we're not paying that. We're not repaying that. So if you're going, carry your load with you. So they've carried their debt load with them. There was another single commercial loan that was quite steep on their books that we've negotiated to pay just 50% off from Standard Bank. So they took the shareholder loans and 50% of that Standard Bank loan as well. There are other obligations to other operators here, tower companies, equipment suppliers and all that still remain on their books. But we're confident that having cleaned up the balance sheet significantly with these concessions that the vendors made, we're in a position, the company is in a position to have a cleaner bill of health and to do much better. So next week or thereabouts, we've met the staff and the management.
How do they feel about it?
Excited. The uncertainty was killing them. And because there had been a lot of rumors, Tigo's gone, Airtel is also going, the company is going bankrupt, are we still going to have a job, what's going to happen to us? There was a lot of uncertainty. So once the announcement came that government had stepped in, it was like they heaved a collective sigh of relief and knew that at least now we know our way clear that this business is going to continue, and we intend to continue running the business as a going concern. I'm not going to sit there as MD. Government isn't going to manage it, no.
Okay.
But the staff that are there would work. And then after they've done their presentations about the turnaround plan and all that, we will see if they need additional help and then bring in whatever resources that
So
they
government
need.
won't let it go?
It's too early to decide what to do. We need to stabilize the company, put it on a growth path again, help them to also engage in the data space, which is where the industry is headed. And we've done something we call technology neutrality, so they can use their existing spectrum without having 4G to provide 4G services. And we think that will help them immensely to also move forward.
Will they be in the position to compete head-on with the giants like MTN and Vodafone?
Why not? They should be able to. That's why they're in business here in the first place. And I think that, judging by the little that I've seen, giving the right conditions, they should be able to carve a decent niche of the market for themselves and grow their subscriber base as well. We have a few tricks up our sleeve.
Right. And so if you paid $1 for Airtel Tigo, where did this $25 million come from?
You'll have to ask whoever is bandying those figures around, because I have no idea.
All right.
I signed the contract. We negotiated the terms of this contract line by line. We quibbled about commas and punctuations and whatever, you name it. And it was a very hard-fought negotiation between the Ministry of Finance and myself on our side and Airtel Tigo on the other side. And so I know what that contract says. And it says clearly in clause 3.1 that the consideration paid for the shares that are on offer is $1. So whoever is throwing those figures around, ask them where they pluck that figure.
I mean, you say $1 with such pride.
Because I was very happy at the end of, and it was these negotiations have been going on since like October, November last year. No, even before then. We've been going back and forth on several clauses. And sometimes it took one on our side, Ministry of Finance and myself, to put our foot down and tell the lawyers that enough, this is what we've agreed to, we're doing it.
Right.
And on their side, it took the owner of the company himself, Sunil Mittal, to tell his CEOs and lawyers that enough, it's okay, let's concede this point and move on. So that's how difficult the negotiations were. You know, lawyers and accountants, they will fight and quibble over every little detail. But then the decision makers have to come in and say, okay, that's it. Let's just accept this. So there were concessions made on all sides. And finally, we had an agreement we could live with. So it's not as if they plunked an agreement down in front of us and said, here, sign here.
Okay.
Nope,
so where is this spat between you and Sam George coming from, really?
Which what?
This tiff, this spat,
Is
this
there a
back and forth between the two of you.
Me, I say I've signed a contract. This is what I negotiated. Maybe he is shadowboxing. I don't know, because I'm not having any spat or tiff with anybody.
Yeah. Because the $25 million he mentioned, I saw his press statement. He said he picked up from reports and he expects you to come to Parliament to respond, to explain.
Which reports? Where? You cannot just announce that you picked it up from reports. Where? Where did you pluck it from? Tell us. If you have seen a contract which is indicating that we paid 25 million for it, bring it. And let's see whether we are talking about the same arrangement. I suspect not. Maybe he's talking about something else. But if it is the Airtel Tigo transaction, I think it's by now he should have woken up from his slumber and accepted that, okay, maybe I dreamt about this figure, but the real figure is $1, because that's what it is.
And was it just today or late? I think it was today that you were talking about your eyebrow pencil.
He was. I don't know why he's fixated with my makeup. Let's ask. Maybe he's a drag queen.
He's what?
I don't know. Why is he fixated with my makeup? Maybe he's a drag queen.
I don't know about that one.
I don't know about that too. Please, that's said in jest. I beg.
Yeah,
Nobody
I know.
should take me
I know.
on that.
I mean, you've got a smile on your face as you do that. But yes, but I mean, so people are hoping that this would come to an end. How do you intend to bring it to an end as the minister in charge of the sector?
Bring what to an end?
This conversation about, because you talk about $1. You've explained. I was listening to you yesterday on radio, and you've been going on from radio to radio station trying to explain how you arrived at $1, but you still find people still raising questions.
I can't help them there. That's their problem. There is only one truth, and that is what I have stated. If they find the truth hard to believe, nothing I can do about it.
Okay. There are some who think that because government knew that from the beginning that Airtel Tigo was at some point going to be handed over to government, or government was going to own it, That is why MTN was being given such a tough time at some point by you.
Why would we do that? And how can we anticipate that COVID would hit and all of this would happen? I fail to see the nexus between the two, and I wasn't giving MTN a tough time. The facts are also clear in that case. The law says if you control more than 40% of any part of this industry, you are declared a significant market power. This was written in black and white in 2003, long before I came along in the telecoms policy. So what we needed to do was to look at the market share of each operator. And let's face it, at different points in time, different operators have been significant market players in one area or the other. Ghana Telecom was SMP in voice telephony at some stage. And now the shoe is on the other foot. Maybe tomorrow, Airtel Tigo will be the SMP in voice or data. We don't know. That's the nature of our industry. What's a growth pole today may be in a slump tomorrow. Where is the space to space that used to grab the industry? The com centers, which were the rage all over the place. And you know those boxes that were sitting on the tabletops around. Where are all of those? The telephone booths. Where are they? It's a very vibrant industry. So you never know what's around the corner. And that is why the law has said that if any operator has more than 40% in any particular segment of the market, you declare him SMP in that segment. So let's watch this space. It wasn't personal, and I was at pains to let everyone. Why would I just pick on the largest telecoms operator in this country for no reason? Am I mad? I'm not. And I have a very clear sense of what needs to be done to grow this industry. And each of these players must be profitable for the sector to thrive. And it did happen sometime last year when there was a multiple cable cuts on the MTN network. 2/3 of this country was without connectivity. Why would you want to, and a lot more of our interaction is moving online. Why would you want to hold your entire economy hostage to one player in the market? It's foolhardy. So it's important that we grow the space for each of them to compete fairly and use the regulatory tools at our disposal to do that. So it wasn't me just taking on MTN. The state of the market now is not healthy for Ghana as a country. And so we need to correct that. And that's exactly what we're doing. Now, what is happening out of all this is that they have also recognized that for them to thrive, they need to have healthy competition. And so we're all coming to some consensus on the fact that there needs to be active and passive infrastructure sharing in the industry. And that means not just co-locating on the towers, but looking at sharing the fiber assets of the company, looking at sharing the network of operators and agents that they have and merchants that they have, so that everybody, it's open. Let the customer decide. You don't say this is my agent, so they will only deal with MTN. You will share that. You don't say this is my merchant, so they would only supply Vodafone products. No. If they don't have an outlet there and they want to have an outlet there, share it. And let the offerings that you're giving the subscriber be the determinant and not the network that you put in place.
Absolutely. At the end is a subscriber.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to take a short break, but I'll take some of the comments you've been sending to me so far about this conversation. I have to read this one to you first because this is somebody you know. He says, please tell her she's my favorite minister. She's beautiful and supremely intelligent. I owe her a big visit and that I beg her she shouldn't lash me. That's from Manuel Sawyer.
Manuel.
All right, I'll go for some more messages here before we take a break. Nana Aba, Ursula knows her stuff. Yes, sometimes she deviates a bit, when it comes to the proper politics. But when she's doing her job, she knows how to do it. And I mean, this is the second time I've heard this man say that you know how to do your job. And this, he's done a lot of work with you, so he knows you personally. And coincidentally, he belongs to the other side. Yeah, he's a staunch NDC guy. Yeah, but you always constantly hear him say that Esla knows her job. Nana Aba, please, can you find out from Honorable why she sat on Honorable Akando's last? I'll bring that question very soon. Trust me. We are not leaving this room without talking about that. Nana Aba, I love Ursula Owusu, especially on her Facebook, and I loved it when she posted a message about DJ Boyenyum. You posted that, didn't you? There are more messages coming in. Let's take a break. We'll come back and talk to Ursula Owusu-Ekuful about Ablekuma West. Will she run again? Will she be interested in running for president of this country? We'll be right back.
Starr 103.5 FM. Simply the best.
Charlie, make you bring me one more mini. Crisp and refreshing. Cold to the last drop. Born for occasions. Club Mini means there's more celebration. Open the bottle, feel the surprise. Cold to the last drop. Club beer. Charlie, there's pride in your eyes. Club mini bottle, awesome refreshment inside. Cold to the last drop, right from the first gulp. Cheers to Club Mini. Club, crisp and refreshing. Drink responsibly. Not for sale to persons below 18 years of age. Not recommended for pregnant women. This advert is FDA approved.
I dedicate this song to you.
On May 9, GH1 TV and Starr FM, in partnership with Dove, will celebrate midwives, recognizing their dedication to anxious, expectant mothers, being with them in the thick of contractions, sharing in their pain and joy when the tears turn into happiness with the arrival of their newborns. It is time to celebrate the mothers whose tales are never told.
God bless you.
This year's GH1 TV and Starr FM special Mother's Day event, Appreciating Midwives, is in partnership with Dove, Real Beauty from Real Care, and supported by Yumvita, a delicious way to grow, Unga, Mama's Helping Hand, Chupa Chops, MamaPreggyMarket.com, Compute Ghana, Lydia Contraceptive, Class House Electronic Company Limited, and refreshed by Alisa Hotels.
You ain't in a won't bring me.
Charlie, make you bring me one more mini. Crisp and refreshing. Cold to the last drop. Born for occasions. Club Mini means there's more celebration. Open the bottle, feel the surprise. Cold to the last drop. Club beer. Charlie, there's pride in your eyes. Club mini bottle, awesome refreshment inside. Cold to the last drop, right from the first gulp. Cheers to Club Mini. Club, crisp and refreshing. Drink responsibly. Not for sale to persons below 18 years of age. Not recommended for pregnant women. This advert is FDA approved.
Bringing you the true definition of contemporary radio. This is Starr 103.5 FM.
103.5 Starr FM.
in the studio with Mrs. Ursula Owusu-Ekuful, the Honourable Member of Parliament for Ablekuma West and also Minister of Communications. And we're talking about her and her work tonight. I see all the messages you're sending to you. Ablekuma West people, sleep. Tonight is not for your MP. It's for the entire country. So trust me when I say that I'm not reading any message from anyone in Ablekuma West.
No, that's discriminatory.
Yeah, it's deliberate.
Oh, Nana, I can't do that.
You know, I went to my Facebook and they've hijacked. And I'm trying to find messages from other people and I can't find the messages. So, Ablekuma West, chill. And the next time we have her on maybe Constituency Watch, we can talk about you. And then you can send in your questions to us. So, why did you sit on Akando's laps?
I did.
Yes, you did. I'm sure you've seen the pictures. Have you seen the pictures?
You know.
And the videos.
Oh, are there videos?
Oh, yeah, there are videos.
Okay. Now, when I entered Parliament on the, mid 10 p.m. 7th January, there was chaos there. And I think I spoke about this during my vetting. This is my third swearing in. Every time I've had to be sworn in previously, you walk into Parliament and have a seat which is labeled with your name. So everybody sits in an assigned seat. And they do it deliberately. Backbenchers sit somewhere, front benchers sit somewhere. So there's order. This time round was like a free-for-all. And that's the chaotic scene you walked into. So if it's a free-for-all, it means anybody can sit anywhere. Because no seat had anybody's name on it at the time. So I found myself a seat, which happened to be on the majority side, and I knew we were in the majority, so I was sitting in the right place. I just happened to be surrounded with by a whole group of people who were sitting on the wrong side of the house and thought that that was their side of the house. I wasn't going to get into an argument with anybody about that. Found myself a seat. All the chaos that ensued, I got up, and everybody else was sitting down somewhere. So by the time things sort of settled down, everybody had a chair they were sitting on. I got up to go to the washroom. I come back and Akando had moved from his chair to come and sit in the chair in which I was sitting. What does any gentleman do when you are sitting in a seat assigned to a lady and she comes back? You graciously get up and say, "Madam." I stood by this man and he started looking elsewhere. I said, "Masa." He refused to get up. Okay. You are sitting in my chair, which I had been sitting on for the better part of 4 or 5 hours. So I sat back in my chair. He happened to be an obstruction sitting in the chair. So I didn't sit on Akando. I sat in my chair. That's what happened.
Did you feel you were sitting on a chair?
Well, when I sat down, the chair started wriggling. He started moving back and forth. And I said, "Oh, really? Now let's have some fun here." So I leaned back. And he quickly realized that he was going to do himself some permanent damage if he didn't stop wriggling.
How?
Well, I shall leave that to your imagination, madam. So he quickly stopped and froze. And it was difficult for him to decide what to do next, because by then I was also comfortably relaxing in my chair. And if he was being an obstreperous adult, the only way to restrain them is to use physical restraint, which is exactly what I did. Before long, he was almost short of breath, so I graciously tapped the gentleman who was sitting next by him that, "Oh yeah, get up now." And he got up. So I said, "Master." And he quickly scurried out of the chair without much persuasion. So I'm sure he's not going to forget this lesson in a long while.
Did you find it cool that was happening in Parliament?
Everything that happened in Parliament that day was crazy. And I've never seen anything like that in my whole life. You see scenes like that happening in other parliaments and we laugh at them. So it's a source of, I'm embarrassed at what transpired at the swearing in of the 8th Parliament. I sincerely hope it never happens again. I apologized on behalf of all our colleagues for the craziness that ensued on that day. And I beg Ghanaians to forgive us. I think that we took leave, well, let me not use that phrase again, it's gotten me into trouble before. Let me just rephrase. Something crazy happened to all of us that day. And it was action and reaction. Somebody actually came to yank the chair that I was sitting on from under me and brought me to my knees. He's come to apologize since then.
And then there was snatching of boxes.
I mean, it was surreal.
Yeah, you pushed Collins.
Yes.
Dauda.
Yes. It was surreal. It was like you were watching people
Did
kicking
you
ballot boxes.
Did you apologize to him?
Oh, yes.
All right.
People kicking ballot boxes, snatching, and Muntaka started all the kicking ballot box and snatching ballot papers thing. Don't blame Carlos. Muntaka started it. First person who went to cast his ballot, Muntaka snatched it from his hand. You know, and once that degenerates and the whole ballot box that was sitting in front of the entire house, he kicked it away. And then others too started kicking the screens, and the marshal was sent flying in the air. I mean, Ghanaians, please forgive us. And hopefully we've learned our lessons from that and it won't happen again. But someday we'll look back on it and wonder,
What happened?
What hit us? And from fire, so sad and yes, anyway, it's part of parliamentary history now, but I'm sure it will be used to teach subsequent parliaments about what not to do. And the clerk ought to have been firmer when he was in charge, but c'est la vie. What's happened has happened.
Were you surprised that Professor Michael Quay lost the position?
Yes, I was.
Why?
Well, somebody on our side must have broken rank for what happened to happen. And so we've put it behind us. But you can't help wondering why anybody would do that and what their motivation would be and whether they're happy at what's going on in Parliament now. When even routine things like the debate on the budget, not the actual appropriations, but the policy debates on the budget has to be voted on. It's never happened before. You know, and if we are reduced to having a vote on every single little issue, then it just devalues the consensus building approach to parliamentary work that we have known in all the 8 years that I've been there before, and that this is my 9th year. But it's as if everything we learned in the past has been appended by this current parliament. In a way, if we all do our work well, it would help us to be better. But we've lost so many experienced parliamentarians and
why do you think that is so? I mean, you've been there for a while, and I mean, your constituents have been very loyal to you. Not just loyal. I mean, it's an evidence of the work you do in your constituency.
It's been a long, hard slog, and we have to fight for every vote that we get.
There are a lot of people who are
time.
interested in that seat.
So I see. I have no idea.
Well, it's very obvious.
If we could experiment with it small, you just go on vacation a little and let them go and sit there and see if it is as easy as
you
it
you will
seems.
not dare do
I'm
that.
not doing any such thing. I ain't going
You
nowhere.
you won't give them even
I've
a
told
day
them, Jagbele.
until you say, I am done. Yeah. Right.
I've told them so, they should keep dreaming. But if every time we're losing such experienced parliamentarians and people have to start learning from scratch, who will be there to teach them? So it's as if quality of debate, quality of parliamentary practice keeps lowering, the standards keep lowering with each succeeding parliament, and that's not good.
So on the other hand, do you think that
parliamentary
these
practice.
experienced parliamentarians are also not doing their work in the constituency? This is why their constituents are kicking them out.
It's difficult, but balancing.
How do you do it?
competing-
I mean, you're a minister. you're a wife, you're an MP, you're a family member, you're a mother.
It's not easy.
How do you do it?
You have to be a woman to be able to pull it off successfully over and over
Yes,
again.
and a
we
woman.
multitask.
I should have added that. And a woman.
You know, we multitask, but it's not easy balancing all these competing demands on your time and your energy and your resources. Because now being an MP is a very expensive business, and our salary can't deal with the pressures that we're under.
The salaries are going into what exactly? People queuing up in front of your homes for school
Nana,
fees,
you don't want
outdoorings, weddings. How much do you spend on that every week?
I even lost track of it. No, you don't want to know.
Right.
You just act like a robot. Whatever, your hands are conveyor belts. Whatever falls in goes out.
Can you dare drive them away?
Some of them are genuine needs.
Right.
Some also are, I call them politicalpreneurs. They are political entrepreneurs. That's how the business they do. You have to be able to distinguish between the two. And when you say no to the politicalpreneurs, then they turn against you and start working to unseat you. But they forget that you have met their needs 10 times before. The one time that you say, no, I can't do it, then hey, nitrimording. Others are in genuine need. You're dealing with their health issues, paying their medical bills, funerals, education. That's a constant, and I say that if I spend all my money on education, it's not a waste, so that's my focus. Some basic rents, funerals, outdoorings, weddings. It's never ending.
Yeah.
Never ending. But some are in genuine need, and support for small businesses as well, small loans and giveaways, because sometimes the person is asking for a loan, but there's no way.
I remember in
2016.
I was in your constituency. Before the 2016 elections, I was in your constituency, and I went to the market. And the women there, I mean, you find some who will say, oh, Ursula, no, we don't want her. But I got into the market, and the women were full of praise for you because they said that you had supported them so much that they couldn't see themselves voting for any other, no matter which political party they align with. It is you they're going for. Why do you focus more on the women? I mean, you're a woman, you advocate for women, but I mean, why aren't you helping the men more? Why aren't you bringing in equality?
I am biased in favor of women. I think we have a bad enough deck stacked against us that we need all the help we can get. And you find that many of these women are single mothers. They're raising their children by themselves and trying to earn a decent living and just need a little bit of support. So if it is just a small loan which will enable them to expand their business, why not? And so we deliberately target assistance, direct assistance to women more than men, so that they can also lift their families out of poverty. And women do that. My mother was a single mother. And if I'm here, it's by dint of her hard work. And what she did for me, I know that most mothers, given the chance, will do for their children. So when I do that, I know that it's not just for you, but it's for the children. And you would find that's what makes this work so rewarding and fulfilling for me. Years on, you find people coming up to you, thanking you that you paid my school fees. You helped me, my mother, through a bad patch, and that enabled her to take care of me. You won't even remember, because you're doing it not for any reward or anything, but you're doing it because you have to. But by doing the work that we do, we make a difference in people's lives, and it makes it worthwhile. So we'll continue what we're doing and hope that in time we'll be able to touch enough lives that it will be lights coming together to illuminate our world.
Okay. I have a colleague, Ajwa. Every time she talks about it, she says, I am so conflicted. Number one, she's an Ashanti, and so she says, me the NPP die. Then she says, she's in your constituency, she lives in Dansuman. And she says that I love Ursula so much, but please tell her that, and she called me this one, tell her that the free water, we didn't enjoy some. Then, she felt that I had ignored her message. So she comes up, please, our water issue. So around the exhibition, 7th grade, we didn't enjoy some of the free water. Yeah, it's not, it's just one side of the area that enjoy the constant water supply. Our side, the Lau.
Oh, I'm so sorry about this. Wish I had heard about it earlier. Would have worked with Ghana Water to see it happen. Now, what we're doing was to even put water tanks in areas where the taps weren't running. And I remember I did go around the 7th grade area, and they were telling me that they were having challenges with their water. We had a 10,000 liter tank. Where to put it was a problem.
Is it fair that
because none of them was willing for us to put it
right
in the neighborhood. So how do we help supply you with water when we don't have anywhere to locate these tanks? But I think almost as long as I've lived in Dansuman, we've had water challenges. I used to go fetch water, carrying a bucket on my head, walking all the way to Blue Lagoon on the main Odoko Malam Road to go and fetch.
That's a stretch.
That's a fair stretch. You walk all the way there with an empty bucket and walk back with a full bucket in the South Odoko estates and it's been a perennial problem. But we're working. I think the district municipal chief executive is doing a great job and is working with them to see the Ghana Water to see how we can resolve these water challenges permanently. My apologies
to Ajwa. Okay, so Ajwa allowed. Okay, there you go. But do you think it was fair when in 2021 we were asked to pay back water and electricity that was given to us?
We couldn't sustain that permanently.
Right.
And we should have known, we all knew that it was an emergency measure instituted at the height of the pandemic to deal with the many challenges that we were confronted with. We shouldn't have expected that it would go on forever. And so that bought us some breathing space to enable us to organize. When most jobs were locked down, jobs had been shut down and all that, and people weren't earning any income, and we needed to wash our hands, and so it was important that we provide some relief. Some countries were doing cash handouts because they had the means to do so. I think for us we considered that, but it was challenging to know how to differentiate between who needed it most and who didn't. And so just by this blanket provision of free water and electricity, we knew that as many people as possible would benefit. And so I think that being a temporary measure and the opening of our economy is now ongoing gradually. We're back at work, even though we're doing half in, half out, social distancing and all that. At least the economy is slowly opening up. So I think it is something that we can also help government with. We're back at work, we're earning our salaries now, so we should also contribute a little bit. Government revenue has shrunk because of the pandemic, and so even the little that we've been able to do, we should be grateful for.
Okay. Now, before we wrap up, I just want to pick your thoughts on the minority caucus in Parliament. Some are calling for the removal of Haruna Idrisu. What do you think?
Hey, media, I'm an observer to this. I understand that Ras Mubarak has been watching us since the beginning of the show. Yes. So let me give him a shout out. He's a good friend of mine.
Oh, is he?
Oh, absolutely.
He asked me to ask you if you thought it was honorable to sit on Akando's laps.
Honorable?
Yeah.
A lot of stuff that happened that day was not honorable. But I wasn't sitting on Akando's laps.
You were sitting on your seat.
I was sitting on my chair.
Did it feel like a chair?
Felt a bit weird though.
Yeah, it felt weird. All right, so what do you think about Haruna Idrisu and the calls for him to be removed, for the leadership of the minority to be changed?
Well, it's their right to decide who leads them. I think that he's doing a great job so far from where I sit, and so I would hesitate to prescribe any course of action to them one way or the other. But judging by his performance in the last parliament, and since this parliament. Leadership is difficult. You have to balance competing demands, and not all decisions that you take are popular. And that's the price of leadership at all levels. People may not like some of the things that you do, but you have to do them because of the exigencies of the situation. I think that he's doing a decent job, and it would be useful if he's
And the
retained.
speaker, are you impressed with the speaker's work so far?
Early days yet, but I've known the speaker
For
for
a
a
while.
long time, and I know the work that he does and his input as a parliamentarian. But we've just done one session. Let's see how things go.
Okay. So there are rumors in town. I know you don't want to answer this question, but I will push you to that you could possibly be such a great running mate for Dr. Bawumia in 2024.
Really?
Yeah. You don't think you make a good
I'm
running?
flattered.
You don't think you make a good running mate?
Oh, whatever my hand finds to do, I give it my best shot. And that has always been my approach to life. And if it is being a shoemaker, go ahead. If it is cleaning your kitchen, do it so that...
If it's Vice President, Ursula
so
would deliver.
whatever my hand finds to do. And my life and times are in the hands of God.
Right.
If somebody had told me a few years ago that I'd be a 3-term member of parliament, I'd probably have argued with them about it. I was very happy in
The
Westall.
first one. Oh, right.
Yeah, I was very happy doing the work that I was doing in Westall. Circumstances changed. I found myself a vocal critic of the government of the day, and I think I gave it my best shot there. And love me or hate me, part of it is due to the work that I did there. I don't know what my future holds for me. So,
But have you ever gone to sleep and imagined yourself at the top seat?
I've imagined myself in many seats.
Was it one of them?
many
Was
seats.
it one of them?
You don't want to know some of the things. You're running the world. I've even imagined myself in the UN and places like that. But I like to keep my feet firmly planted on earth and to deal with what's on the table at the moment. If at some stage in the future that's my lot in life, why not? But that is not what I am actively working.
I'll tell you
for
what,
at the
I
moment.
think that every time we say, do you think Ghana is ready for a female president? Do you think we can have a female president? I think that should be you.
It's possible.
Yeah, it is
It's possible. I think that at some stage we should consider that possibility and work actively at it. And there are few people who would be able to facilitate that. But right now, I have my work cut out for me as minister
You're
for
dealing with
communication and digitalization, which is a
Exactly.
whole new
thing.
ball game.
Right.
But and a very exciting place to be at this particular point in time. So
I hear your husband is the only calming thing in your life.
oh, he's a fantastic chap.
Yeah?
And I love him to bits.
Mm-hmm. You do?
I do
Where did you
indeed.
meet him?
When?
Where did you
Where?
meet? Yeah.
Ha 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 ha.
Were you on a national assignment?
No. I met him in East Legon, actually.
Oh, okay.
He had come on holiday for the first time in 30 years.
And you grabbed him.
No. He dropped into I dropped into his lap, literally. And I'll explain that. I had gone to see Auntie Mogwaya, one of my mothers. And I love beads. And there's a woman, her sister-in-law, Auntie Janet, in East Legon, behind Abidipele's house. She used to string beads for us. So I'd gone to see her. And when I got there, Sam was there with her. And she said, oh, my car's gone. And so can you give us a ride home? I said, why not? It's just around the corner. So we all had to squeeze into the back seat. So we ended up in the back seat together. And I said, oh, hi. I didn't even look at his face. So that's how we literally met. And then
one thing
we
led to the
bumped
other.
into each other a few times after that.
And here you
And
are.
he left and went back to London, and I stayed, and we connected again in other climes. And long story short,
Here you are.
here we are.
Mrs. Owusu-Ekuful. Fantastic. You're such an adorable woman. This is your mystery question.
What is that one to?
It's a mystery question. There you go.
And now, the mystery question.
Oh dear.
So you're supposed to read it out loud and answer it.
Do I have one? What's your biggest regret in life so far? Not sure I have any. Reason being, I take whatever comes my way in stride. And as you can see, I'm answering this question very seriously. I hold life loosely. Good things, bad things. I think there are lessons in it for all of us. And sometimes what may seem like a bad choice that you make would have moved you onto another track in life, which will lead to a good end. So, biggest regret in life? I don't have any as yet.
I wish you had given her a different question. Like, choose between Dr. Bawumia and Alan Sherman. That should have been a question. I blame the producer. Now, that would have been a difficult one for her to answer. Would it have been difficult?
Nope.
It wouldn't?
Nope.
Who's your choice?
I'm not answering. It's not my question.
All right, I have to end this interview, but I will take some few messages before we wrap up. Someone wants to know if there are romantic relationships in Parliament, like between MPs. Do you know of any? MPs dating each other?
Not that I'm aware of.
Are you sure?
I'm thinking, as you can see. Unfortunately, I haven't ever been at the receiving end of any. So I can't talk about my personal experience. But after I got married, a few people came to say, "Oh, how did you know you wanted to get married?" I said, "Idiot." Did you think I wanted to stay like this forever? What's the meaning of that? I said, if I had known, I would have. And I said, yeah, tough. Too late. You know.
Yeah.
So maybe something like that is going on, but I'm not that way.
Maybe you intimidate the men in Parliament.
Why should I? I'm a very nice person.
Oh, you are extremely intelligent and you have a strong personality.
That's intimidating?
That can be intimidating for some men.
Wow. Then they're not man enough. Yep.
Okay. On that note, I have to end this conversation. Thank you so much, Mrs. Ursula Owusu-Ekuful, the Honourable Member of Parliament for Ablekuma West, and also Minister in charge of Communications and Digitalization. Yes, so there's an add-on. Don't leave that out. And I have to say a big thank you to Dove, to Pepsodent, to Coops Puff Puff Buffers, which is launching on the 3rd of May at the Underbridge, and you're all welcome. And then also, I think I left the very last one out, Smart Hygiene. I'll tell you more about Smart Hygiene here. Is your perfect choice for the fight against germs on your skin, especially COVID-19 virus. It is a well thought out formulation that combines the best ingredients to deliver the soothing feeling and clinical freshness for users. It comes in the form of a spray or gel as deemed fit for purpose. It is convenient, medically hygienic, effective, affordable, and comes with excellent packaging. So contact them in both Kumasi and Accra. Call 0551 855 858. I have to say a big thank you to Smart Hygiene, to GH Perfumes Mall, to Compute Ghana, to Dove, Coops Original Buffers, and to Pepsodent. Thank you so much, Mrs. Ursula Owusu-Ekuful, for joining us on the show. And this is from Dove to you.
I get a gift?
Yes, you do get a gift.
Thank you.
Yeah,
so
it's from
much,
Dove to
my
you.
dear.
And this is from Coops. It's buffruit. All you need is water. Now I mix it. Now watch it. That's
Thank
your
you so
buffruit.
much, my dear.
And
I
that's
shall enjoy.
and that's your sanitizer as
Oh,
well. Yeah.
there's more.
Yes.
I wish you do it more.
I know, the gift that keeps giving, Star Chart. Thank you so much, Mrs. Owusu-Ekuful,
Thank
for
you,
joining
my
us
dear.
on the show.
It
And
was
I'll
a
play
real
your
pleasure.
favorite Bob Marley for you as we
Yay.
wrap up the